So it is finally here, Martin Scorsese's gangster epic, which it seems like was in process for so many years. It was just like, when is this going to happen? When are we going to get Martin Scorsese teaming up with these screen legends once again, and some of them for the first time, but it's finally here on Netflix. Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. What did you think of The Irishman? I really want to discuss this because it really is, for me, a highlight of the film calendar this year. Let's talk about this gangster epic starring Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci and Al Pacino, all three together at last. Hey everyone, my name is Jim and welcome back to My Movie Obsession, a place of film obsessors, and The Irishman tells the story of Jimmy Hoffa, played by Al Pacino, who is friends with this small-time gangster, Frank, played by Robert De Niro, who is also aligned with this gangster boss, Russell, played by Joe Pesci, and it's about the journey of the Jimmy Hoffa, Frank, Russell relationship, and obviously leading up to the Jimmy Hoffa mysterious disappearance, which there are still theories about to this day, and Scorsese seems to have gone with this one, which unfolds in the movie. Now this movie is very much so an epic. It's 3.5 hours long, and I really do think it had to be, because this is definitely probably going to be Scorsese's last sweeping gangster epic. Maybe not, maybe not. These guys are still going strong, maybe it won't be. But it does have a sense of finality to it. It does have a sense of scale to it. It does have a sense of epic, expansion, and just a really, really colossal piece of work here. And it's one of those films where I'm going to have to watch it again. I'm still kind of forming my opinion on it. It kind of reminds me of my reaction to Once Upon a Time in America, the Sergio Leone classic, which I think is one of the greatest films ever made, but I didn't have that feeling when I first watched it. And Once Upon a Time in America very much reminds me of this. It's a very human, very reserved, very sad and nostalgic, and just so many emotions in that film, which I could feel in The Irishman. And the slow pace, the different style than we're used to in gangster films. I really feel like this is Scorsese's Once Upon a Time in America, and I really, really, really like the film. I don't place it above, Goodfellas or Casino, which I just think are two of the greatest films ever made, or even Taxi Driver, but it is a film that I really, really want to watch again, because I really feel like it will go up in my estimation. So maybe one day I will prefer it to Taxi Driver, or I will prefer it to Casino. Never Goodfellas, no. Nothing can top Goodfellas. Sorry, Martin. I just think this film really does capture a real sense of the isolation of being at the top, which is a theme that Scorsese always has in all his films. He's always returned to it. Very much a filmmaker who the ideas never get boring. He's always making films about bad people, making us sympathise with bad people. He seems fascinated with that, that thrill of the criminal life that ultimately doesn't work out and can't work out. And once again with The Irishman, you see that. His films are always about the downfall of a certain character or characters. And I really think that Frank in this film, Robert De Niro, his journey is so interesting. He goes from, this guy who paints houses to this cold-hearted guy who will do anything just to secure himself financially. And it really does, fill me with that feeling that back here, it was really, people seemed more willing to commit crime to just get by, whereas today you wouldn't get the regular Joe down the street going into the gangster lifestyle. It kind of blows my mind that these gangsters have ever been around, these massive mafia mob gangsters. I always wonder if the depiction in films is realistic to real life, but Goodfellas was based on a real story, and Casino was based on a real story, and this is based on a real story. So I'm wondering if today they don't exist as much, but back in the 50s and 60s, the mafia was just running riot and just wrecking shop and being untouchable, and it's a fascinating era, and I can see why Scorsese is so obsessed with it. But Frank is one of De Niro's most ambiguous and unpredictable and, interesting performances. Very reserved performance. I do liken it kind of to his performance in Once Upon a Time in America. It's all a lot of facial expressions and gestures and little moments where you sympathise. But just like in Once Upon a Time in America, he's a bad, bad person. But you build a sense of affection for him. And you see those little fleeting moments in the eye of regret and humanity. And it's just fascinating. I just love how Scorsese loves to examine that. He loves to examine if bad people are truly bad. We like to, in society, concretely say people are bad if they do this, people are good if they do this, but it's sometimes not as black and white as that. Joe Pesci, it's incredible that he's been away from acting for so long, because he's come in here and he hasn't missed a step. It's a stunning performance. It's a different performance. It's not that vicious Joe Pesci from Casino or Goodfellas. This is Joe Pesci being the quiet, reserved mob boss. And he's almost more chilling in this than he is in Casino and Goodfellas, because he just makes these sweeping decisions to off people. But he just lives this normal, this kind of quiet, reserved life. He's kind of, I feel like a big theme in this film is the retirement of morals, the kind of retirement of caring about what you're doing. It's just like, yeah, I'll murder him next week, fuck him. That's what it honestly feels like. They don't care about who they're offing. It's just a necessity. Whereas in Casino and Goodfellas, he was crazy, he was over the top, he was wild. It's almost less scary than someone who's just so it's the norm to them to just do it. Just deliver in such a cold way. It's almost like he's showing less humanity than he was in Goodfellas and Casino, because at least in Goodfellas and Casino there was emotions, there was evil emotions, but here he's cold. But again, just like with Frank, the little moments where you buy into the friendship, you at times sympathise. Really feel like I'm going to go back to this and it might end up being my favourite one, because I have that familiar feeling that I had with Once Upon a Time in America, where first time you see it, you don't love it with all your heart, but you want to go back, and you keep going back, and you're just mesmerised. Of course, got to find 3.5 bloody hours to go back and do it, but I'll get there eventually. Al Pacino in this film is Pacino at his best. It really is. I genuinely believe Al Pacino and Robert Deniro are the two greatest actors of all time. I'll say it. I really do. It will be such a shame when they both leave us, because I have said that Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio are today's De Niro and Pacino, which is true. I do think they live up to them, but these guys are in a league of their own. They really are. Just so few actors have reached this level of, every performance lights up the screen, or every performance makes you think, or every performance gets you worked up or provokes emotion. It's just incredible. And Al Pacino in this as Jimmy Hoffa, you get that sense of charisma that Jimmy Hoffa had, that sense of the way he was able to work people up with him, the way he was able to be a likeable guy. And you get those Al Pacino outbursts. And one of my favourite outbursts in it, I'm going to do it on camera, is Al Pacino saying to his guys, I'm going to jail. You understand? I'm going to prison. Because of you. That's what he does, like, to his men. Classic. Al Pacino, he's doing the classic Al Pacino, and you need to see that, before Al Pacino retires. You need to keep him seeing him do this, because it's such an incredible thing in film, that Pacino style, that he's always had a signature style. I do think Pacino, people say, oh, you see too much of Pacino doing the same old thing, but I feel like he brings the Pacino style to different characters, and he plays the character, but he still has time for his Pacino characteristics, and I think that's important for actors. You need to, like DiCaprio, now and again you have those little DiCaprio characteristics, but he still plays the character. I don't feel like just because Pacino is doing his Pacino outbursts, he doesn't play Jimmy Hoffa. I feel like there's a real investment and emotional impact on the performance of Al Pacino as Jimmy Hoffa. I think it's an incredible performance. I think every performance in this is so in depth You know, everyone properly inhabits every character, and it really is a character piece. And it really is it just gets really, really bleak. It's not a happy film. You know, again, it's a film about the downfall of the criminal lifestyle. You know, and you don't get much of the joy. You know, like Goodfellas, you could say in some moments it's a fun film. Casino, even, you could say it's a fun film. This is just melancholy. It really is a film about finality. It's a film about coming to the end of life. It's a film about looking back. It's a film about regrets. And it's a film about the dark side of, you know, human morals. To see De Niro age in this film, to age to even bloody older than he is now, and you see, you know, that regret start to creep up on him. And it really is a film that creeps up on you. And I'm looking forward to that feeling again, because Once More Time in America really creeps up on you the more you watch it. And I'm hoping that's going to happen with The Irishman, and I'll eventually call it Scorsese's Masterpiece. I really wish I'd seen this in the cinema. I really wish the cinemas would have took a risk on this and not just had it on Netflix. I feel like it's a cinematic film. I feel like Scorsese, you know, wonderful direction again. You know, he's just the king of, you know, it's a 3.5 hour film, and even though it is slow at times, he's still putting that Scorsese trademark of those songs over the top, that fast editing, that voiceover, which he has in all his crime films. Like interesting shots, like when De Niro goes in and beats up this guy who, you know, disciplined his daughter because she was being naughty in the store or whatever, and it's all in one shot, and you see him smash this guy through the glass, and then he beats him and stamps on his hand. You know, it's shot in this, you see the whole shop as De Niro goes in, you see him throw him through the glass window. You know, just memorable images in this. A real, again, Scorsese knows how to fill the frame, and he does it in The Irishman. And I'm looking forward to going back and looking at what he actually done with this. Again, it's one I need to revisit, it really is, but I really, really did enjoy the film, and I really, really do think it's a very, very strong, you know, to see all these actors together, a very, very strong entry in cinema, you know, and that's why I wish it could have gone to the cinema properly. Again, you know, Joe Pesci proves why he is in the league of these actors. For him to come back after being retired for 20 years and to do this is so impressive. And, you know, to see him share the screen with Al Pacino, to see him share the screen again with De Niro. Harvey Keitel's in the film. Doesn't do much, but he's really good. To see them all share the screen, it really does bring a tear to your eye. It makes you emotional because you're seeing these juggernauts of acting, you know, on screen together for maybe the last time. What do you think of The Irishman? I'm still kind of processing it. I'm still kind of thinking out loud when I talk about it. But now I'm talking about it, I think I like it even more. Like, it's one of those films that it creeps up on you. And I'm hoping that it will do that. I'll probably watch it again in about 3 months' time. And, you know, hopefully I love it even more. But yeah, it's not a film for everyone because it's so bleak. It's not the fun Scorsese, you know, Goodfellas. It's not that at all. You know, it's very much his take on the bleakness of human existence in some ways. Let me know what you think of The Irishman in the comments down below. I really want to discuss it. I really want you guys to tell me what you think. What was the best part? Who was the best performance? All that stuff. And please click on another video. I did an in-depth discussion of Casino. It should be on the screen sometime about now. Check that out. And also I have many nostalgic 80s and 90s movie reviews planned, so if that sounds interesting to you, please best subscribe. And I've got many Christmas videos coming up because it is coming into Christmas. So let's start Christmas with a review of a bleak film about sadness and the lack of empathy. And then let's go into talking about empathy for December. But anyways, please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.